Hey everybody, and welcome to Steelbook Obsessed. My name is Jake, and today, as you can see behind me, I have not only the new edition, the new 4K transfer from Sony of Drive, I also have an old school Blu-ray Steelbook behind me. I am a huge fan of this movie, have been ever since I saw it for the first time. Probably 2012, came out 2011 if I remember correctly. This is the fourth time I've watched it. The second time I've watched it in 4K because I also have the second sight transfer. Today, I will be talking about my thoughts on the movie. I will be talking about the Sony 4K transfer. I will be comparing it a little bit to the second sight transfer. If that sounds fascinating to you, make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you give this account a subscription. I would greatly appreciate it, but let's waste no more time and get to this beauty right here. This, my friends, is the new Steelbook of Drive coming out this Tuesday. I adore this thing so much. There's been a lot of great physical media packaging for this movie. This movie is so stylized that it makes a lot of sense that there's going to be a lot of great imagery to play with and choose from for the packaging. And I think that Sony did a dang good job with this Steelbook. Here's the front cover. Here is the back as well, just nice and shiny. I'm getting a lot of like nice light pops on this sucker too. You can kind of see some of the pink areas that are just popping. That scorpion is doing something to me. Here is the front and back opened up. We get a nice little version of Drive, but it's on the spine, but it's the same font from the title screen of Drive, which is always very nice. Here is the disc artwork. Actually, I'll pop both of these out and I will showcase off the inside art and the disc artwork because they both need to be shown off. Here is the inside. Got Ryan Gosling over here. He's being hidden by the discs, which is a little bit of a bummer. You gotta take both discs out just to see his, his persona, his aura in this film on the Steelbook. Nothing wrong with that. Here is the 4K disc in itself. Right there, also looking mighty nice. And then we also have some artwork on the Blu-ray disc as well. I want to say this has been used in the past, but I always appreciate it when there's thought put into putting actual artwork on the discs. So I want to make sure that I show it off to you. Now let's kind of go into my thoughts on the movie Drive. It's a movie that I've seen 4 times. And every time I watch it, I appreciate it more and more. I feel like the style is just oozing out of every porous of this film. I feel like it's a love letter to LA, and it looks so nice. And it also helps that every time I watch it, it's on a very better and better transfer. Like I remember watching Blu-ray a couple of times. I watched the second sight 4K transfer, and now I've seen the Sony 4K transfer. There's a lot of scenes that this movie has that takes place at night within like the LA night scene. And that's where this transfer to me really shines. It has a lot of the black levels are just nice and popping with all of the different lights that are in the skyline there. But if you go to the just open light shots that are in pure daylight, it also looks very good. I will say that this transfer and the second sight transfer, which I have in this Steelbook, I had the basic release of Drive from second sight. I thought that this Steelbook looked a lot nicer than what the packaging I had for it. So I put the second sight in here and I folded this. Do I regret it now? Kind of, a little bit, but I do adore this Steelbook so much. So I kept the Blu-ray in this movie. The inside is just pink, but I wanted to give this second sight film's release the packaging it deserves. I know that there is a nice box set for this film that I can place up there. Hot take? I don't think second sight film box sets are for me. I would much rather have the basic version with the amazingness on second sight discs than I would the big bulky boxes, because for me the juice isn't worth the squeeze when it comes to the price tags that they throw on those. The discs are, and I absolutely love the content that they press onto discs, but the extras that you get for packaging and stuff, for me it's not there. But what is there is this beautifulness that's on disc. And there is a difference between the 4K transfer from Second Sight and the 4K transfer from Sony. And personally, while they're both superb at times, I would say that that night lighting that I talked about that pops so well on the Second Sight transfer does not pop as bright on the Sony transfer. They did something to the nighttime scenes to where they don't pack as much of a punch, in my opinion, as the Second Sight transfer does. There was also a little bit of like black bleeding. Sometimes when you watch a film, and I have an OLED, and normally this does not happen when I watch 4Ks. When I had my old LCD TV, the 1080p one, it has just, you know, the strips that are in the back of the panels, and that's how it's lit up. And you get a lot of bleeding in the blacks. Like, it just does not look like a picture should. And that always drove me nuts. So when I got my OLED, every single pixel has a light behind it. You don't really get that too often when you're watching a 4K film. There were a couple of times in the 4K that Sony put out where there were like corners of like a little bit of bleeding, and I can't show that on any pictures that I've taken, unfortunately. It did not show on my phone like it did when I'm watching with my eyes, and it doesn't happen all the time. I would say maybe 20 seconds of this movie I could see the bleeding effects happening. The rest of the time, I think this movie looks great, but if you want a darker or a more poppier black, if you want those blacks to absolutely sing, the black levels to look nice, and I don't know, just I feel like the lights in those nighttime scenes shine a lot brighter on the Second Sight release than they do on the Sony release. I think it just comes down to your preference level. If you really want those lights to shine, get the Second Sight version. If you kind of want a more, I wouldn't even say muted take, I would just say not as glossed over, I would do the Sony. They both look great, and the daytime scenes look pretty dang identical. It just comes down to those nighttime scenes to me where I will probably pop back in the Second Sight over the Sony 4K transfer. But like I said, it's not like I'm saying this is bad. And one good thing that I will say over this, or that I choose from Sony rather than the Second Sight, is that there is a new bonus feature on the 4K disc of this drive pressing that is worth your time. They bring back some of the stars of the movie, but not... They don't get Ryan Gosling to talk about it again. They don't get Carey Mulligan to come back. But they do get Ron Perlman back, and they do get Christina Hendricks back. And they talk about their time both filming the movie and what the movie has kind of done for them in their career, why they wanted to be in this movie so badly. You get a lot of people that worked behind the scenes of this film. You get Cliff Martinez, I want to say, is the person that was behind the score. You get his 2 cents on what the score has done for him, why they kind of placed things the way they did. A very nice making of. It's not top tier like Furiosa was, but it's like a good 15-minute chunk of extra footage and reminiscing about like where this movie kind of stands in the landscape of cinema now, and just kind of the trajectory that it has had ever since it came out, and it still holds up. I will pop up my Letterboxd review here. Like I said, this movie continues to get better and better every time I see it, and I cannot wait to just rewatch this movie over and over again. Here is a shot of the J-card. Right here, you can kind of see everything that was included on the Blu-ray release is also included on here, and there is that new one on the 4K disc. Back in the driver's seat featurette. The featurette is very lengthy though, so I will say that. I will say, if you don't have this movie 4K in the collection, I think that this Steelbook version is a very good version to pick. Personally, I would do the Second Sight, but I do think that there are positives to both releases. And that is my 2 cents on Drive, the 4K. I think this sucker looks mighty nice. If you've never seen Drive, you are going to absolutely love the way this sucker looks as well. I love this film, and if you haven't seen it and you don't own it in your collection, you can't go wrong with either transfer here. Thank you for watching this far. If you like more movie reviews, they will be in the very end credits of this video, so make sure you check out all the ones that I've done. I have more coming out in the future. Thanks for watching this video, and until next time, I'll see you. Hey, congratulations, you found the after credits scene. Good for you, good for you. My question is, I love the movie Drive. I want to know what movie you think of when you think of LA in film. This one is pretty high up. Heat is also pretty high up for me. Gosh, Marriage Story is up there too. Just there's a lot of different scenes that I think of that scream LA to me. Those are like the top 3 that come to my mind. I don't want to give you any more I don't want to take any more choices away from you. So let me know what your answer to that question would be in the comments. I'm hoping that you would also let me know what you think of the movie Drive. Second Sight does a phenomenal job on their transfer. Sony also did a very good version. Both, I guess I didn't talk about the sound in the main review. The sound is pretty much identical to both, so that is not an issue. That's why I didn't even bring the sucker up. But let me know your thoughts on the movie. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite LA movie in the comments as well. Thanks again, and drive right through the night, down the hill. Man, Night Call is a great song. Ryan, you're a great person. Bye-bye. We are human beings. I'm a real hero.